Assalamualaikum everybody. So today I'm going to make this video as kind of like a carry-on from my first video, which was how I converted to Islam. This video I wanted to make, it was more like for new reverts or people that are thinking of reverting to Islam. This is going to be about how my parents found out, and how my parents took it and everything, because I feel like a lot of Muslims, or new Muslims should I say, I think a lot of them don't really know how it feels, to tell their parents, like I imagine a lot of them have told their parents and a lot of you have told your parents and everything, but at the same time I kind of want to give an idea to the people that haven't yet told their parents, or are a bit worried about things like that. So I think I just figured if I maybe could shed a little bit of light on it, like it depends on the family, to be honest. To begin with, it depends what parents you have, like what your parents are like. I think if your family is actually fully committed to following another religion, for example Christianity, if your family really, like, they go to church, they read the Bible, they pray, I think it's always going to be harder for the parents who believe in a different religion, just for the fact that they're going to be a bit like shocked, I guess, because they've brought you up a certain way. And I think it's going to always be harder for the people that have a different faith background, like their backgrounds are got that wrong. I think it's always difficult for families who follow another faith, is basically what I'm trying to say. There we go. That would have been easier to say it like that, but never mind. So, yeah, I believe that families following a different religion are always going to find it harder, because they've brought their kids up, they've brought you all up and they've been like trying to implement Christianity or Judaism or being a Catholic, like all that sort of stuff. So my family, they didn't take it so well. They weren't really happy at all. They blamed the people I work with. They blamed all the people that I work with, because my two bosses are Muslim and their cousin also works there, and obviously he's a Muslim as well. And yeah, my parents, they definitely blamed them. They were like, oh, they're talking rubbish, just ignore it, you're being brainwashed, why are you bothering with this crap and all this, like they were really angry. They found out without me telling them. My stepdad had gone through my room. I think they'd noticed something different about me, but they didn't really know what it was. And my stepdad came into my room while I was at work one day, and he'd rummaged through everything. He found all of my books, he found my prayer mats, he found my clothing, like my abayas, jilbabs, and like the suits and everything. And I didn't know that he had known for so long. He'd basically known 3 months before he had said anything to me, and 3 months before he had said anything to my mum. My mum didn't have a clue, to be honest. And he showed my mum one night while I was at work. So I came home, and I was all like happy and, woohoo, finished work, let's come home, go to bed, blah blah blah. And I walked, and I remember this so clearly, I walked into the living room, through the front door, into the living room, and they said, can we talk to you? We need to talk to you, it's really important. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. What? And sorry, I got something in my eye. And they are sat there looking at me, and looking at each other, and they're just like, they don't know what to say. They're just like, what do they say? I mean, what can you say? I mean, they were really, really angry, you know. They were like, why? What's all this about? You better tell us what's going on, you know, like, what the hell have you been doing? Like, what have you been getting up to and everything? And they thought, to be quite honest with you, one of the people that I work with, he's not much older than me. There's only, I think there's about an 8 or a 9 year gap between us, age-wise. And I had been good friends with him, you know, obviously, because he'd been supporting me through Islam, you know, and guiding me. And I'm sorry guys, but I have something stuck in my eye. And yeah, he'd been supporting me, and they got really suspicious, I guess you could say, because I'd been quite close to him, you know. I'd go in on my days off, I'd go in just to you know, try and learn a little bit more. And you know, he'd been helping me a lot with my Quran and reading Arabic and Qaeda and stuff. So, you know, we had like a kind of close bond, like in a brother sister, you know, in Islamic faith sort of thing. But my parents didn't understand that. They thought I was following Islam to be with him. Now, astaghfirullah, that is completely wrong. I mean, that was the furthest thing from my mind. I mean, I just wanted to learn about Islam. I believed in Islam. I believe in Allah, you know, and everything made so much sense to me. But they didn't see it like that. They got really mad. They threatened to kick me out, just because I was believing in Islam and I was praying, you know, and I was doing things that they disliked. They weren't used to it. And if you remember in my first video, I said about how they are kind of Christian but they're not because they don't practice it. Well, that got brought up, that got dragged up so bad. It was like, oh, but you can't be a Muslim, you're Church of England, you're a Christian, you know. And I was like, but I've never been taught anything about religion, you know. Like I said in my first video, I had no clue about religion. I didn't understand any of it. And in Islam I find happiness, I find peace, and they didn't understand that. They was just so determined that I was going through a phase, you know, or I was doing it to get close or get married. I was doing it, you know, just, they really did not trust me. They weren't happy with me at all. And it took them maybe 3 to 4 months to really want to talk to me properly. They weren't really talking to me. They wouldn't say a lot to me, you know. My mum was like, how can you lie to me and betray me like that? And I was like, I haven't lied, I just haven't openly admitted to it yet because I wasn't ready. I mean, it had been playing on my mind for a long time, you know. I think it took me a good 4 or 5 months, maybe a bit longer, to tell them. And it had been playing on my mind for so long, and I was like, I have to tell them. How are they going to take it though? Like, are they going to be mad? And yeah, I think part of me deep down was praying they were going to be happy for me and be happy that I'm like trying to find my own way, you know, and stuff. But it didn't work out like that, and I think you can't really prepare yourself for how your parents are going to take it. I find it really difficult, you know. I was, like I say, I was praying they were going to be happy with it, and when I found out they knew, it was wrong. It was, my thinking was wrong. I mean, they were just angry, and there was nothing I could do about it. There was nothing I could say that was going to change it, and it's hard to cope with. I think they'd asked me to move out and then they changed their mind. But then I was actually thinking of moving out just because I was maybe hoping that my family would take me a little bit more seriously in Islam. They didn't just I thought I wanted them to get over the fact that I wasn't just going through a phase. I wanted to stick with it. And it took me a long time. I cut off all of my friends that I had in school. You know, they weren't very good friends anyways, to be honest. They were more like so-called friends, you know, like they're there for you, or should I say you're there for them when they need you, and when you need somebody they're gone. They don't care, they don't want to know. So that was the type of friends I had, and you know, I was so happy to cut them off. I mean, I wouldn't ever go back to it, just because at the end of the day I don't want to be dragged down that way. I want to be building myself up, you know, building my status higher, inshallah. I want to be a good Muslim, and that just wasn't good for me. Sorry, I'm going off on a different subject now, but anyways, yeah, back to it. So I wasn't mentally prepared. I think I had my mind set on what I wanted my parents to say, but it didn't work like that. It was difficult. So I mean, you can't be ready, you can't be prepared. You're never gonna be able to prepare yourself properly. Every parent is different, and for those of you who are scared of telling your parents or are worried about it, at the end of the day, if you keep it a secret from them, they're gonna find out. And my parents did. I had no idea that they were gonna know. I didn't think they could figure it out. If you keep it from them for too long, they're gonna find it out if you don't tell them. And from personal experience, I would advise you to tell them as soon as you're ready to, and try and make that as soon as possible, just because, like I said to you, my mum felt really betrayed because I hadn't told her, and we were so close, and you know, it was heartbreaking the way she was so mad with me. She never looked at me the same. She was just, I remember her being away for a weekend with my stepdad, and they called me one night out of the blue. They just called me one night after I'd finished work, and they were just going ballistic at me on the phone, and I remember sitting there crying, thinking, yeah, what am I gonna do? I was starting to question myself on what was I doing to my family. I was starting to think, maybe this isn't a good idea, maybe being a Muslim isn't a good idea, maybe I'm just going to hurt the people around me too much. And I think I went a little bit downhill. I mean, I still believed in Allah, I still prayed, I still done my salah, I still done dhikr and everything, but I was starting to feel a little bit like sad and a bit depressed, like quite a lot, because I was a bit like, I'm saying like totally a lot, I was just so worried. I felt like I was tearing my family apart, if that makes sense to you, and I'm sure somebody knows what I mean by that. I felt like I was tearing my family apart, and I was questioning my beliefs. I was questioning, should I be following Islam? Alhamdulillah, I kept to it, and alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim anyways. But for those of you who are thinking of reverting, or are converted and not told your parents, I don't want to put you off. This is not my intention. I would love for you, inshallah, to become Muslim if you are deciding to. And I don't want to scare you or anything like that. Like I say, every parent is different, and there's no guarantee on how your family's going to take it. It depends how much of a special bond you have with them. If I tell you the truth, I've never really had a close bond with my family. Never since I was young, you know, I think from the age of 11, 12, when I went to secondary school, everything changed. My family had changed, you know, my parents got divorced, and my dad moved out, and I stayed with my mum, and then not long after, my stepdad got brought in, like, in the family, and alhamdulillah, I love him, you know, like my father, and I love my mum so much, and but I never used to have that close bond with them, so that was always difficult. And then I think this Islam change, I suppose you could call it, just, it shocked them, and yeah, they were so mad. But don't let it put you off from my story. Don't let it put you off from telling your parents or reverting to Islam. Don't let that put you off, because that's not my intention. I just, inshallah, things will go well for you. If I had to give one bit of advice, I would say just make dua and prepare yourself, because you never know how your family's going to take it, but you have to be prepared for the worst. Don't get your hopes up. Like I said, I got my hopes up that they were going to be fine with it and they were going to be happy for me, and that wasn't the case. So I think look forward to telling your parents and letting them share your journey with you, but don't get your hopes up too much on how they're going to take it. Don't expect them to take it perfectly, because I don't think any parent can take it perfectly. I mean, you know, it's hard. It's a big change. It's seeing their daughter or son just changing in front of them. They're growing up and they're making decisions for themselves. I pray that inshallah your families will accept you and will be happy for you, but you never know these things. So like I say, I don't want to scare any of you or anything like that. I just wanted to tell my story and maybe help those. If you're in two minds on whether to tell your parents or not, I would say don't wait. Tell them. If you feel like you're pretty much ready, tell them. Don't hold it off, because the more you hold it off, the more trouble it will cause you in the long run. I believe if you tell your parents and you're open with them, completely open, you have more chance of your parents accepting you than you do if you keep it a secret like I did, because I kept it a secret for a long time, and I do regret doing that, just knowing how my family feel. Alhamdulillah, now we're all fine, we're all quite close, so it's just a big change, and you have to let them, if they get angry with you, you just have to let them. Just try to avoid conflict. If they start shouting at you or they get angry with you, just go to a place where you don't have to talk to anybody, you don't have to say anything, you know, like it could just be your bedroom. I always used to come to my bedroom. I used to come in from work and I would just come up to my room. And, you know, that way you're avoiding conflict, you're not trying to drag in conflict, because the more you try to, if they get angry with you and if you argue with them, you're not setting a good example for Islam. I don't want to say that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, everybody wants to shout back when their parents get angry with them, you know? But they'll come around if you show them a good Islam. Like, if they get angry with you and you just walk away, they will respect you for that. And if you show them good manners and give them good manners, you know, good behaviour, good manners, charity, if you do charity, if you help them, they will see the good things in Islam. So I'm just saying, try to avoid conflict and try to show them Islam. Don't just force things on them. Don't just shove a book in their face and say, hey, look, read this, because that won't work. But if you show them gradually, if you just talk to them a little bit when you feel you're ready to, when you feel they're ready, talk to them, show them. Just, you can show them so much by your actions. So I hope this has helped, inshallah. Please don't take anything I've said wrong. I don't mean anything to be hurtful. I don't want to upset any of you. and I by any means don't want to put any sisters off from telling their family. Not at all, that's not my intention. So, and I don't want to put any of you off from River into Islam if that's what you're intending to do. So, inshallah, if you have any comments or if you have a story, you can leave the comments in the comment box below. You can like this page and subscribe to my channel. Inshallah, I will make another video soon. So I will see you all later. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.